Juventini. Welcome back to the All Juve cast. I'm Alberto, and I'm going to give you your tactical breakdown as we head into the match against Inter. All right. So, what's at stake? Well, again, big one for Juventus as they can continue to climb the Serie A table. Inter sits ahead of them by 3 points at 17 points total. Juventus at 14. This is a big one because it should change the outlook of the Serie A table, put a little more pressure on those at the top in Napoli and Milan should Juventus be able to get the 3 points against Inter. This particular Inter side in their last 5 is sitting at 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and Juventus is sitting at 4 wins, 1 draw in their last 5 in the league. However, again, the team looks to be settling in quite nicely under Allegri now as he's figuring out his players' roles. And again, we are now able to do something we haven't been able to do for quite some time, and that's start to get a streak of consecutive clean sheets. We're turning into 1-0 FC. Might have some fans frustrated. For me, I am happy as hell because we are getting the results and getting the wins. Now, without further ado, let's start taking a look at this particular Inter side, what we could see, what they're going to do, and whatnot. And I got to say, overall, there are some similarities between Inzaghi's and Conte's Inter, but it's a different team in terms of the mentality. There's something different there. They've looked a little more vulnerable than Conte's led side, and that just could be the reflection of the manager coming through. Obviously, they lost a couple key guys in Lukaku and Hakimi, but for the most part, the shape, the style, and they play in is all very, very similar, as we are going to see. Now, we'll kick it off with this particular slide here. Now, this is something we are going to see. They attack in numbers. They attack very, very quickly, and it's all about forcing you to make decisions. At least 4 always coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ball's over here. He'll attack space here. What does that do? Moves this defender in, and then look, 1 and 2. You've got a guy at the backside that has to make a decision. Inter loves to do this. Okay, so they are not afraid to put men forward and really just attack space, force you to make some decisions. Even if you're trying to keep them ahead of you, again, they will force numbers up. Looks quite bunched here, but they're midfielders. Here being Vidal. Dzeko looking for space here. And as you can see, what ends up happening, Dzeko gets the ball. Vidal will continue his run into space. They will always send players forward, midfielders especially. They're not scared to get up there. So what does it do? One of their strengths is also something that opens up a weakness, which is the ability to counter, but you have to be very, very quick in doing so against Inter. All right. The other part of their game, again, putting men forward, forcing you and testing you at the back. As you will always see, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into the area on this aerial. They look to pick up scraps after putting you under and hopefully cleaning up some garbage in the area on these aerials. Here again, 1, 2, 3, 4, one coming in support. There's another one just out of the picture here. This is them on aerials all the time, really. It's about putting men forward and giving you decisions to make at the back. Now, in doing so and the aggression that they play in, again, they do open themselves up. So one of their strengths opens up a little bit of weakness too. Over here, you can see as they like to swarm the ball, try to get it. What does that do? They kind of zone up a bit. So they have a tendency to zone up a bit if they don't get the ball quickly from you when they try their swarm. And again, what you need to do is draw some of their defenders out. So playing right against them at the back line isn't really, it's playing to their strong suit if you're going to play against their back line. So some of the guys playing forwards against them have to slide back here and find that space and force them to come out. And when they do zone up here, you'll see the ball will slide in to this player here, and then it'll open up some lanes. So there you go, attacking the space here. What does that do? Decisions for defender. Does he continue to press on the ball as this guy slides in behind him? What ends up happening is again, you have a player right here in the midfield down below, which I believe is Darun here. But again, you have to do the exact same thing that they do to you, and that's be willing to put men forward regardless of a threat of a counter attack, because you have to give them the exact same decisions to make. But they do have a tendency to zone up as they swarm to try and get the ball, and you've got to be quick and you have to make these penetrating runs right about here. So for us, if we get into a game where we want to win a lot of 1v1 battles, it could be tricky. We're going to have to start to make it some of these penetrating runs. One of the guys that's great at them is Bernardeschi. However, Bernardeschi could be used in this particular match to rule out Brozovic. It might be a strategy Allegri employs. Pirlo was very successful in doing that last season. So there are a few question marks. A lot of our players, and I've said this for a while, Juventus, our strongest guys, love to play with the ball at their feet and don't necessarily make a lot of these penetrating runs, but you have to do it. You have to force them to do what they do to you, and that's make decisions. And the only way to do so is by moving the ball quickly and working 1-2s and attacking space. You have to essentially do the same thing to Inter that they do to you in order to be successful. Here is an example of, again, drawing their center back out by dropping deep. Our forwards, Morata in particular, will have to move around a lot in order to generate space, not only for himself, but everybody else. So he will be a key factor. Here you see him dropping in. What does that do? It opens up space in behind for this player to attack, this player to attack. And again, you have to put men forward. Golson's in this particular side should be higher up assisting. And again, you have three midfielders at the back here, kind of standing around. More players forward if you're going to look to punish Inter. All right. Here are some examples from Juventus. They played Malmo, and Malmo had a similar setup to what we are going to see. And this is a couple of things that worked. Now, again, the quality level in between Malmo and Inter is drastic. We understand that, but the setups are the same. Here you see Morata's dropping down. He will collect this ball. And again, it's all about playing him off. And look, he's making those defenders decide if they're going to press on him or stay back as the spaces open up, right? And that is what we're going to need to do. Here, Morata decides to slide the ball forward. I would have liked to see, again, one of our midfielders, but again, these guys are going to have to commit. Whether or not they will, we will see. But he should be further up the pitch in order to force this defender into either coming and attacking him, or then we could slide the ball out wide. We do eventually get the ball out wide, but it's quite drastic as you look at where this cross was coming in from. Now, we were able to get a goal on this. And again, here you see 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the area. We have to do the same thing, have to be basically unafraid of the counterattack coming in order to press Inter and put them under pressure. This one ends up in a goal after a bounce on the cross. It was a surprising goal, and Sandro did extremely well with the header there. But yeah, you could see the difference in this first slide, right? If this player were to attack the space and force that, the cross would be coming in from a much, much more dangerous area. It still worked out for us. But again, we cannot be scared to move men forward against this Inter side. Here, again, another example of Morata. Morata moving away, not staying central, not staying high, forcing them out in order to create these pockets of space. The only thing is, when you have them, you need to attack them. I would have liked to see another forward attacking in there. And then Locatelli here working a 1-2, which again, something we're going to have to do against Inter. The mids are going to have to get involved. We cannot be scared to play these men forward. Now, if that other forward in the previous slide would have attacked this space, Morata could have put the ball to that player, and then he could have laid off to Locatelli, who could have been in a more threatening scoring position, as this just ended up being a shot that's going wide. But again, you start to see how we can make it work against him. And what needs to happen is our forward cannot be rigid. The 9 needs to move around in order to create the space for the others to attack. And again, we're going to have to be committed. We can't sit back. If we want to get into a battle of possession with them when they flood the midfield. That'll be challenging too. And if you want to try and play the 1v1 game, it's going to be a long, long day. So there's going to need to be a lot of movement, a lot of quick passing, and we have to draw them out. But there will be opportunities. And again, they like to press people forward a lot and play very aggressive. We need to be ready. The 9 position will be key for us in hold up play, counter attacking, and just overall build up. So Morata will be a huge key for Juve to get success in this particular matchup. Now, this is how we should see the teams line up. All right, so Szczesny in the back, Danilo, Panucci, Chiellini, Sandro, Bernardeschi, Bentancur, Locatelli, Quadrado, Chiesa, Morata up top. This is our projected lineup. Of course, things can change. As far as Inter, no surprises. They played their 3-5-2. As far as the players in the lineup, again, Dzeko, Lautaro, Perisic, Çalhanoğlu, Brozovic, Barella, Darmian, Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni, Andanovic. Again, straightforward lineups. For us, there are potentially a couple question marks. Artur, always a question mark. Allegri continues to speak extremely highly of the midfielder. Whether or not he gets a start, I'm not 100% sure. And there are some question marks on guys you want to have, again, to be able to counter them. If you put Artur in there, are you going to go a 3-man midfield? Because you don't want to leave yourself susceptible defensively. And Artur's defensive ability comes into question. Quadrado, Bernardeschi, much more versatile. Could Bernardeschi be used to rule out Brozovic, who all of Inter's play kind of begins through? A lot of question marks, things we will have to wait and see. But there is your tactical breakdown on things to look for in this matchup, how we can attack them, and what we should expect. Again, these derbies, this is the Derby d'Italia. A lot of hatred there, a lot of ill feelings. It's going to get chippy, it's going to get cagey, and sometimes the tactics go out the window. But for the most part, the setup, the shapes, the chemistry that the players build, it's all the same and it still comes through. So even in these matches where it becomes a dogfight, these are some of the things to look for. And hopefully Juventus can exploit Inter. But I hope you enjoyed this tactical breakdown. For me personally, going into this matchup, I'm a lot less weary, and I said it on the last podcast, of a Simone Inzaghi led Inter than I was an Antonio Conte led Inter. So hopefully the boys can get it done. I'm excited for this one. You know where to be for Match Day Live tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on this channel. Join us in the live chat as we get ready for the Derby d'Italia, and hopefully we can have a fantastic moment that we are really used to in these matchups. Until then, Forza Juve, Fino alla fine. I hope you enjoyed the video. Ciao.